Hey guys, it's Patrick here. So today I'm gonna show you how to create projectile launchers. So we're going to use inheritance and child classes to save some time and create different types of launchers and different types of projectiles. So we are going to need one launcher parent class, one projectile parent class, two child launcher classes that will extend the parent launcher, and two child projectile classes that will inherit from the parent projectile class. And we'll add their own blueprints for each one of these. So logic wise, this is how the action flow is going to happen. So we're going to have the launcher parent class in C++. So this will have a function called start timer. So we want the launcher to be shooting projectiles at a specific time range. And we can define what is the time gap in between each shot. And start timer will have a callback function. We'll call this spawn projectile function, which will actually spawn the projectile in the world. So we will place in the world our child launcher with our blueprint. We will specify a shoot base for this for each specific child launcher. So we'll pass in this variable into the start timer so that for each launcher it will shoot in a specific speed. So having this variable start timer we call spawn projectile, it will spawn the projectile in the world. So then once the projectile is placed in the world, we need to add an impulse to it so that it can move. So spawn projectile will spawn our projectile object, which will be our child projectile. This child projectile will have a vector variable, which is the impulse that we will address to each type of projectile. So each projectile will move in a different speed. We'll pass in the vector impulse variable to a function from the parent class called setImpulse. And setImpulse will then pass the impulse information into our launch function, which will make our projectile move and launch out of the launcher. So first, what we need to do is that we need to configure our blueprints. So just for us to save some time, I already created the C++ classes and the blueprints. So we just need to add meshes and tweak a few of the options in there. So let's take a look at it. So here we have our classes and our blueprints. So for our child launchers, what we want to do is that we need to add a mesh to each one. So I'll add a static mesh, and then I'll just select whatever a table. So my first launch will be a table, and I want to set collision as no collision, and physics. Yeah, so I don't want to simulate physics because this is my launcher. I don't want this to fall. So this is okay. Compile, save, and then we place that anywhere in our world. So we want to do exactly the same for my second launcher. So let me add a static mesh. I'll just say that this is the chair. So my second launcher will be a chair. Also collision. I want this to be off, no collision. and physics off. That's right. File and save. And we'll place that in our world as well. Then for our projectile classes, I want to do pretty much the same. Add a component, add a static mesh. So my first projectile will be a, let's say it's a cylinder that works. I'll just make it a little bit narrower. That's good enough. And for this one, I actually want to set physics on so that it false and compile and save. And then my second projectile, I also need to include a static mesh. I'll just say it's a sphere. There we go. Also, let's turn on physics for this. There we have it. Okay, so now we have our launcher blueprints in our projectile blueprints. So just as a recap, what we have here are our parent classes, our C++ parent classes. And what I did is that I created for the launcher parent class, I clicked with my right button, and then I set create C++ class derived from launcher parent. So with this, I created launcher child 1 and launcher child 2. And the same thing for the projectile C++ class. I clicked here and I marked create C++ class derived from projectile parent. And with this, I created these two child classes. So the childs will inherit the same properties of the parent one. So let's see how we define these properties